Welcome to the 2024 Economic Depression and Preparation Channel. I'm your host, Tony. Thank you for joining me on today's edition of Wednesday, March 13th, 2024. Please be sure to subscribe, tell your friends, and to subscribe as well, as this channel has been, not promoted as much. And I know some people have told me they haven't been able to get the subscriptions through, but continue to subscribe, hit that bell notification or hit that like button, and we continue to interpret financial news as it becomes available today. The S&P 500 and NASDAQ closed lower Wednesday as NVIDIA and the tech sector falter. The Dow Jones was up maybe a couple 50 or 40 points or something like that, but nothing really crazy. But here's the thing. Inflation report came out yesterday, and you know that it's been rising more than expected last month, and it has risen more than expected and will continue to rise. And it's crazy because we have stores still closing. As you know, Dollar Tree lost 14% after the discount retailer released its fourth quarter results, and Family Dollar, as you know, is closing up to 1,000 stores in addition to laying out people. And as we continue to do this automation, this AI automation that you see in the fast food restaurants, and it's spreading into retail, lower end retail, and it's going to go into higher end retail, I believe, by the end of summer. So we have a lot going on here. Stocks close lower today, and this is going to be the result of other things. We're going to have supply problems here. Boeing, FTC chief, according to Market Watch, for monopolization, says company has become too big to fail. Here we go. So, ladies and gentlemen, you remember we had a lot of monopolization happening back in 2008 and 2009, the financial crisis. Those of us who are old enough to remember that, we had the same things happening there, where we had the banks that were, quote, too big to fail. Now we have airlines, manufacturing, banks, everything else that are just, quote, too big to fail. So what does that mean? Well, that could possibly mean that they're going to be, we're going to be bailing out airlines next. We're going to be bailing out airlines, consumer companies that are, quote, too big to fail, and monopoly companies that are too big to fail. That means taxes are definitely going to be going up on everyday Americans, on goods and services as we head into summer and fall. The writing is on the wall. Now, I know that President Biden said he's trying not to increase taxes, but that's the only way the governments can raise revenue is to increase taxes, service taxes, or whatever they want to call it. And he says he's going to do it on the rich, tax the rich, but just like the Great Depression, but we're in a different era. This is a worldwide depression, not just a Great Depression. And so that's not going to work because the rich people, they're living out the interest of the money, and most of them don't have, most of them, have their money in offshore accounts and different things like that. It's not in actual paper, physical money that you can tax like that anyway. So, but regardless, this is what's happening. Now we have NVIDIA stock, quote, still isn't expensive as a $2 trillion valuation, Bank of America says. So this stock, NVIDIA, to me is a little bit overvalued. And the whole stock market is overvalued, as you know. The Dow Jones is over 39,000, which is crazy. And I predicted a couple months ago that it hit 40,000. And here we are, almost at 40,000. By the end of this month, Dow Jones may tip 40,000, which is what we predicted 2 or 3 months ago before the year started in December. I was talking about that, and here we are. But now NVIDIA, this stock is so expensive, it's so overvalued at over $900 per share. It's just like the Tesla stock, guys. You remember the Tesla stock? It was overvalued. People were saying, "Oh, we got to get into it. FOMO, buy it now, buy the dip." And then now look at it. Tesla stock is nowhere near what it was. Same thing with NVIDIA. NVIDIA is going to be a stock that's going to be going down, not this year, but it'll be next year because of the depreciation. And now, of course, there's a lot of been a focus on these chips, right, guys? We know the chips is a big thing. Everybody's talking about the microchips. The issue with that is that there's going to be deflation in goods and services that people actually don't need, meaning big screen TVs, electronics, computers, laptops, cell phones. All that's going to be deflationary coming up next year. Okay, whenever the crash happens, whenever we go into a deep recession, there's going to be deflation in those goods, but inflation in the goods that we do need, like housing, food, medicine, things of those nature, is going to be inflation. So inflationary. So we're going to have a double-edged sword here. In addition to that, the job market is starting to cool off now. We're going to continue to see job markets cool off as companies cut quality, as these companies like Boeing and all that, they're going to cut all of the quality assurance departments, and just going to replace it with AI, as you know, a technocratic society that a lot of you have been talking about in the comments. And so because of that, that means that they're going to be cutting jobs, and not just the airlines and food and hospitality, but in every sector, probably except And probably every except sectors except government, healthcare, and military and security. But those sectors are going to be affected as well too, as they're going to consolidate a lot of these police departments, a lot of these military bases. They're going to consolidate because the United States has over 850 bases around the world. They're just going to, instead of renaming them, they're just going to consolidate them, a lot of those bases, and they have done that in the past. They're going to continue to do that as we streamline services, and they're going to do that in regular civilian government too as well. A lot of these local state offices are going to consolidate. And fire department, same thing. And that's what we're going to be seeing more of heading into the fall 2024 and next year as well, especially as things get tight, as credit gets tight, mainly the credit on the small businesses, the credit on the medium-sized businesses, commercial credit lending. All of that's going to get tight as banks will start to tighten once they realize that the Fed is not going to be lowering rates anytime soon, for sure. Most likely they're going to be holding things steady. Or maybe even raising rates 25 basis points if things get really bad with this inflation, as with the see in June and July what happens. So stay tuned for more updates. I just wanted to give you this brief update today. Thank you very much for listening. I'll talk to you very soon. God bless.